2 points today. That's all we're discussing. We're talking about getting guidance today. The second thing we're talking about as well is body language. How's everybody doing? Welcome to Hot Atlanta. I'm Steven. This is Contemporary Speaks. We're going to have a wonderful podcast today. 2 points today. That's all we're discussing. We're talking about getting guidance today. The second thing we're talking about as well is body language. So it's going to be really great. You might be feeling something from my body language right now and reading it right now, right? That means that we're going to have a good time. We're going to have a wonderful time. And so let's go ahead and get ready. Thank you guys for joining us in-house. Thank you guys for joining us online.
Get ready for some positive, encouraging, inspiring information. But before we jump into this episode, I'd like to invite you to join this community to hear more episodes that will help you become healthier emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. All I want you to do is click on the subscribe button. We love your support, and it's incredible to see all your comments, and we're just getting started. I can't wait to go on this journey with you. Thank you so much for subscribing. It means the world to us.
All right. Welcome once again, guys. Thank you guys for joining us once again. We're so grateful for you being here with us. Grateful for you guys supporting us online as well. And so give it up for the band one more time. Yeah. It's really great. The band does all original songs every week, and so I think that's what's really amazing. And so that's another just wonderful song about being in love with God. So we're going to have a great time, guys. The first topic that we're going to dive into today is getting guidance. Getting advice. And so as I talk about this, it's very interesting as I kind of talk about a couple of things. You know, a lot of times the Bible has a lot to talk about, especially the book of Proverbs. So I'm just going to read just like tons of scripture when it comes to getting advice. So here's the thing about advice that you have to really be honest with yourself about. Sometimes it's difficult to take advice, right? Because advice leads you in a direction sometimes that you don't want to go in. And so a lot of times the thing that hinders us from even getting advice is maybe that we know that the advice that we get is going to lead us against what we actually desire to do. And so getting advice is sort of a very interesting thing. It's something that people seldom seek to get, right? So the Bible does say things like that, like, you know, people who lean to their own understanding, right? And not to what God is directing them to do. You know, these things are kind of very interesting. A lot of things that will cause us not to get advice as well is things like an inflated ego or something like pride or something like that will cause us not to want to seek out that advice. But there's also sometimes a fear of what other people think. Sometimes we don't want to get advice because we don't want people to know that we don't know. And so that might be a reason why we don't get advice as well. And then sometimes it might just be a desire to confuse and manipulate other people that we are around. And we're like, no, we don't need to go to a guidance counselor. We don't need to see a marriage counselor. We don't. And so you can continue to, run the game. And so there's different reasons that can hinder us from actually seeking advice. You just have to kind of dial in. I think this is the one big thing that I love, and I love this about the Bible as well, is that just because we read what a fool is in the Bible doesn't mean that we have to always live the life of a fool. I think that the reason why it kind of spells it out so we can redefine who we are, and we don't have to define ourselves as fools by continuing to live in a certain way, right? That we can choose another way to live, and then therefore we become wise, right? And so I think that's the wonderful thing. You're not condemned. I love that. Jesus said, do not condemn anyone. So you're not condemned to the mindset that you're in right now. You're not condemned to the life that you're living right now. You're not condemned in that. So you can come out of that and come away from that. So keep that in mind. So I'm going to read a bunch of scriptures today. I want to start with Psalms 13, 1 through 4, ESV version of the Bible. And this is very interesting. How long, O Lord, will you forget me forever? Will you forget me forever? I want you to think about this. You're praying to God. I mean, I don't know how people pray today. I don't know if people get desperate. I don't know if people get that real with God and talk to God and say, God, you're not speaking to me. I'm not hearing from you. And so this is really that Psalms. How long, O Lord, will you forget me forever? How long will you hide your face from me? How long must I take counsel in my soul and have sorrow in my heart all the day? That means I'm only counseling myself. I'm only speaking to myself. The only counsel I have is the thoughts I come up with. And he's saying this is causing me to have sorrow and grief. How long shall my enemy be exalted over me? Consider and answer me. Consider and answer me. O Lord my God, light up my eyes, lest I sleep the sleep of death, lest my enemies say, I have prevailed over him, lest my foes rejoice because I am shaken. And so really, how many times do we talk to God like that or reach out to God and say, God, I need to hear from you. I'm not hearing from you as I ought to. Here's another one, Proverbs 20:18. Plans are established by seeking advice. Plans are established by seeking advice. It's getting the guidance while you're kind of establishing the plan is kind of very important. So if you wage war, obtain guidance, right? Sort of an important thing. But sometimes we just want to do what we want to do, right? So guidance becomes something that's going to kind of like, in a way, like, who wants that? You know, especially this, like, we couldn't wait to be grown and out of our parents' house so we don't have to be under their advice or guidance, right? And so we want to live sort of these lives where we are under our own guidance and things like that. Here's something that I love that the Bible really talks about, right? You know, it says in Proverbs 11:14, where there is no guidance, a people falls. But in the abundance of counselors, there is safety. That means when we can get together and talk about it and kind of come up with a plan together, it kind of works out better, right? So here's another thing. I don't know if you guys are familiar with 1 Kings chapter 12. You can kind of look at that, 1 Kings chapter 12. Well, King Rehoboam, he is the king after Solomon, he is the king, and he actually has counselors that advised his father. And these are older men. And as he has these counselors that advise his father, he then has his friends. And so he goes to the counselors and he says, how should I deal with the people? And the counselors tell him how he should deal with the people. But then he goes to his friends and he asks his friends, how should I deal with the people? And his friends advise him how he should deal with the people. So he had his counselors who counseled. That was their job. That's their field. That's what they do, right? That counseled his father. And then you have your friends. Now, be honest with you. Typically in life, we will listen more to our friends than we will those who are giving us wise counsel. And this is what King Rehoboam did. He did the same thing. He went to his friends rather than going to the counselors. And which is very interesting to me, because when you kind of think about that whole concept of when you're trying to get advice, it's very important that you try to understand that your friends have a different relationship than a counselor, right? Your counselor, and I kind of talk about the difference between a counselor and a friend, right? So really, a counselor is really trying to lead you to do what is right universally, like just what is right, period, right? So they're trying to counsel him in a way that he does what is right for Israel, for himself, for God, like period. But his friends are really catering to the friendship, and they're leading him to follow his heart. Do you understand that? So his friends kind of know what he wants to do. So that becomes the difference. So typically if we go to a friend to try to get that counsel, they're probably pretty much, they know you. They know how you feel. In fact, they can tell from the tone of your voice where you're trying to already push the conversation. So this is going to start kind of riding the pony in that direction. With the counselor's not there to do that. The counselor's not necessarily there to side with you. The counselor's there to guide you, to give you guidance, to help you see and give you a bigger insight. Does that make sense? Here's the thing that you realize is that when a person feels that there is something, anything that offers kind of wisdom, people will turn to it. Like, I mean, let me just say this. If someone could tell you, you knew somebody who could predict the winning lottery ticket, right? You would probably be like, hey, I'm just calling you. What's the lottery ticket going to be? Like, you turn to people that you feel have the kind of information that will benefit your life. And when you don't turn to people, then that means that you feel they don't have the information that is going to actually benefit your life. So guidance is really beneficial to one's life. So let's talk a little bit about this. Here's another Bible verse that we can kind of look at. Proverbs 28:26. It says, he that trusts in his own heart is a fool. But whoever walketh wisely, he shall be delivered. So whoever trusts just in their own heart, right? You know, another translation might say something like trust in their own insight or trust in their own mind. That's another translation. Proverbs 15:22. Proverbs is all about this all day. If you don't ask for advice, your plans will fail. With many advisors, they will succeed. So asking for advice and getting this advice is kind of very helpful. Here's another one, Proverbs 12:15. Fools always think that their own way is best, but wise people listen to what others tell them. Here's another one, just on the same vein. It's Proverbs chapter 16, 2-5. It says, all the ways of a man are pure in his own eyes, but the Lord weighs the spirit. He says, commit your works to the Lord and your plans will be established. The Lord has made everything for its purpose, even the wicked for the day of trouble. Everyone who is arrogant in heart is an abomination to the Lord. Be assured, he will not go unpunished. So this concept of really not getting sort of this guidance, this counseling, is kind of something that can eventually lead to your demise, right? Like it can eventually cause you to fall in life, right? Fail in life. So let's talk about reasons for getting guidance. Reasons. What are the reasons we would get guidance? Typically, people that are seeking guidance, they crave transformation. So if you actually crave any type of transformation, some people, let me just be honest with you, they don't want to change. Some people are not looking to change. They don't want to change. So they're happy. Why would they get any guidance or advice? But for other people, they might feel like I need something to change. Something has to change. Like I just feel like this isn't right in my life. Like something needs to shift. Something needs to be, and I need to find out how to shift it. So one of the reasons that you might actually seek guidance is that you are craving transformation. I'm just craving to be different. You know, guidance doesn't have to be always spiritual or anything in that way. You can get guidance in terms of joining a gym, you know, and getting an instructor to help you out. And you tell them, hey, this is what I want to do. I want to lose this weight, or I want to build muscle, or whatever that might be. So guidance is something that could help you in multifacets of life, right? Here's another one. You want to learn how to cope better and reduce stress. So if you're somebody who wants to learn how to cope better with life and the things in life, then you might want to get guidance, right? And reduce your stress. So this might be another reason why I'm seeking, why I'm stressed. This is what's going on. I'm not sleeping at night. So you might want to get some guidance. You might want to get some help. These are reasons why you might want to seek guidance. Like, hey, I would like to get some help in this area. The other thing is that you want to avoid being overwhelmed and stay motivated. So in your life, you might feel overwhelmed and you want to be more motivated about your life. Well, in a circumstance like that, might be another reason why you might tend to want to try to seek some type of health coach or life coach or something like that. in order to get guidance, right? And so that's kind of important to understand. Your enemy is what you have to also realize. You're going to have one major enemy when it comes to getting any type of guidance. And your enemy is going to be your fear of change and distractions, okay? So a lot of times, the thing that will hinder you is that you don't want to change. You realize that the guidance that you're going to receive, you already kind of like know it, that the guidance that you're going to receive is going to require you to change your life. And so that might hinder you, and that's going to be one of the biggest hindrance is your fear of change. Believe it or not, you kind of have that in you. I don't want things to change. I want them to stay the same. I don't want to change people in my circle. I don't want to change what I eat. I don't want to change, I don't want to change when I go to bed. I don't want to change, whatever. So that might be reasons why we're afraid. And the other thing is distractions. The biggest thing to you getting guidance and really using that guidance is distractions. You're going to be distracted. Well, I'll do it another time. I'll do it at a later date. I know I need guidance. I know I need to talk. I'm just going to wait. I'm just going to wait. And those can be things that hinder you. Here's the thing that the Bible says, counsel a wise man, and he will be wiser still. Teach a righteous man, and he will add to his learning. Counsel a wise man, and they will add to their learning. So a lot of times when you are counseling people who are into guidance, are into learning and growing, those people will take that information and they will just start to live it out. So the second thing we're going to talk about today is body language. This is a big one right here. I've been reading a few books on body language, right? And so this is one of the books, and I just got this one the other day. I look forward to getting into this one here, which what everybody is saying. And it's very, very, very nice. Very, very nice. Stuff that I never knew. Stuff that I really didn't even care about or look into. But now that I'm reading this, it kind of gives me insight as to what the body is communicating or what's going on within the belief system, right? Ecclesiastes chapter 8, verse 1, it says this right here. It says, who is like the wise? Who knows the explanation of things, right? A person's wisdom brightens their face and changes its hard appearance. So basically wisdom, knowing something internally, kind of brings on a different outward appearance in your body language, in your actual face, which is very interesting, right? And so in body language, body language is considered nonverbal communication, right? There are three elements of communication. So the three elements of communication, one is body language, the second is voice, and the third is words. So these communicate, right? Which is the body language, the voice, and the words, right? And when we communicate with someone face to face, we pass the information and understand through three different elements: the body, the voice, and the words. The message isn't, however, communicated equally across the three platforms. So it's not necessarily what you are saying out of your mouth. When you are communicating with somebody, 55% of your communication is based on body language. Okay, so a lot of times you might be like, this is what I'm saying, listen to my words, listen to what I'm saying. But the body language is different. Okay, and so people, when they're communicating, they're looking more into what is the body language saying. And 55% of communication is there. 38% of communication is in voice, your tone, your pitch, the pace of your voice, how fast you talk and things like that. That's 38%. And then words is actually 7%. Right? So this is kind of very interesting when you think about communicating, because sometimes we think it's just about the words. Well, it's also about the voice. It's also about the body language. What is the body language? And we're able to compute that in a split second. I'm just looking at you, I'm watching you talk, and I can see you say something, but something seems off, or something seems like you're not telling me something. These are all frequencies of reading the body language and understanding that the body's telling you a signal that you may not fully understand. And sometimes we go away and we grapple with that. We're like, what did that mean? What was going on there? So here's the thing that science teaches you, that the one thing that cannot lie is the body. The voice can lie, and the words can lie, but the body language will never lie. And so what they're saying is that believe and trust the body language more than the words and more than the voice. Believe what is the body saying. What are you giving off in the moment? Okay? Because that becomes the truth. Very interesting, right? Very, 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 very interesting. And this makes sense. Because God commands us to love him with the body, which is the soul, which in Hebrew is nephesh, which is flesh, the body. So God commands us to love him with the body, and that makes sense, right? Because we can't try to love him, but then our body is saying something sort of different. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's what I think a lot of people who call themselves believers and Christians, that's what we do. We love them with the words, but not with our actions, not with the body. So these books that I got are very interesting. I wanted to read a couple of things, if that was cool. Right? Emotional asymmetry of the face. Recently, it has been shown that the face is remarkable in the ability to reveal multiple sentiments at once. It can sneer and show contempt while at the same time giving a social smile. This is likely evidence of a multiple internally competing sentiments. So when that happens internally, the face is letting you know, I have some internal competing sentiments in me, right? Which show up in the face as leakage. And so in the book, it says, in my observation, the left side of the face, the right side, as you look at a person, tends to be more accurate, right? Especially when it comes to negative emotions. This ability of the face, by demonstrating different emotions on different halves of the face, is called emotional chirality. So it's like you have an ability to display on either side of your nose different emotions. But if you gaze at the left side of the face, you'll see the true emotion of what a person's really feeling. No. It's like something on the left side is a different signal. We also have, the right and the left side of the brain and all these different things and how all that operates. Here's another one. I like that. Here's another one. Facial incongruence. Incongruence between what a person says and how it is reflected in the face is not uncommon. Okay? People might say one thing, but their face is already telegraphing another. A very tense face or a face displaying dislike or discomfort betrays true sentiments, right? Though the person might be obliged to say something nice or offer a polite greeting. So when someone says something nice, but their face is not, they're lying. Isn't that deep? I want you to really this is like how to read people, like the face is leakage. Watch this. Here's what the Bible says. This is the way Jesus says it. Matthew chapter 12, verse 34. He says, you brood of vipers, how can you, who are evil, say anything good? And this is exactly what this is. Facial incongruence. Right? For the mouth speaks what the heart is full of. The mouth speaks what the heart is full of. And so Yeshua is saying that how are you able to do this? How are you able to actually, I know, I can see right through you. I see right, but you're communicating really good words. Here's another one Jesus talked about in Matthew 15 and 8. These people honor me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. This is exactly true. All of this is exactly true, is as to where you have to trust what the face is actually telling you. So this book is really great because it talks about when people raise the eyebrows in conversation, or, when people touch the nose like this. I have it. I'm not going to read it. Here's just one random one I'll pick on hair. How about that? Hair. Right? Sitting conveniently on top of the head, our hair conveys so much when it comes to nonverbal communication. Healthy hair is something all humans look for, even on the subconscious level. Hair that is dirty, unkept, pulled out, or uncared for may suggest poor health or even poor mental health. was like, what? The hair is communicating something? Right? I thought that was interesting, right? You know, you can go on and on and on in this, but just in that kind of concept, I thought about that. Like, do you comb your hair? You know, is your hair combed? What does your hair look like? Is it related to poor health or all that? And so even on a subconscious level, we're looking at the hair. What is the hair saying? What is the hair speaking about? And I'll probably put the links in the descriptions to these kind of things, right? But here's the one thing I do want to get into that's very important. How to feel better using your body language. Body language is so big that actually it affects your self-esteem. Did you know that? Body language affects your self-esteem. And so that's how important it is. Science has shown that people who actually, listen to this, wake up in a fetal position are more anxious than those who don't. So I want you to think about tomorrow morning when you wake up. Are you in the fetal position? Because if you're waking up in the fetal position, you probably tend to be more anxious than people who are not waking up in the fetal position. Here's the suggestion. The thing is that if you find yourself waking up in the fetal position, stretch out in the starfish position, which is stretch yourself out before you touch your feet to the floor. So stretch out in another position, in a victory position, and then, get out of bed. And so this is kind of very important that your body language is controlling how you feel inside. Okay? So then you have to get to this place where you ask yourself, what do you believe about yourself? Low self-esteem is when you are very disparaging of yourself. And so you can also hear low self-esteem through body language, such as you go in and you hug someone and the first comment they make is, oh, I know I stink. Stuff like that. This is being disparaging of oneself. Or when you're always making apologies for yourself, like, oh, I'm sorry about this, oh, I'm sorry. So this is showing low self-esteem when you're constantly doing that. It shows the picture that you hold of yourself, okay? There is a body-mind feedback that you constantly give off. A body-mind feedback, right? And so posture is one of the major links to self-esteem and confidence, and you have to understand this. So doing simple things like brushing your teeth with one hand on your hip, right? Kind of brushing your teeth with one hand on your hip can help boost your self-esteem in the morning. Standing with both hands, right, on your hip, they call that the superhero pose, right? For a few minutes can boost your self-esteem. So a lot of times people like to do that in private. Here's another thing. Opening up your posture helps with self-confidence as well. So that means that when you tend to sit more like this, or you tend to sit more like this, or you tend to sit more like this is a sign of low self-esteem, right? Versus opening up your posture, maybe sitting a little bit more like this, or sitting a little wider stance or something like that can help also boost your self-esteem, okay? It's kind of a very interesting thing, because a lot of times we're worried about the impression that we're making on others, when in fact the first concern is what kind of impression are you making on yourself? Yeah. So there's this thing called positive affirmations. So when you speak positive affirmation to yourself, are you impressing yourself? Are you making an impression on yourself? Are you actually building yourself up? So if you can't make an impression on yourself, you cannot make an impression on anybody else. You see what I'm saying with that? Yeah. Just carrying yourself different can actually change the way you feel about yourself. Just carrying yourself different. One of the things too is more of an open posture. Typically people who sit more close up on the steering wheel are dealing with more anxiety. So one of the things they say is that try to release some of that anxiety, back away from the steering wheel a little bit, have some distance between you and the steering wheel, have more of an open posture. So you want more of an open posture rather than a collapsed posture, okay? And think about these things. These little tips can really help you out, right? And how do you talk to yourself internally? What are you telling yourself internally? Especially when you feel bad and things like that, right? But one way to decrease your self-esteem, the best way to decrease your self-esteem, I'm saying it this way so you do the opposite, right? So the best way to decrease your self-esteem is by breaking your word to yourself. okay? The best way to lose confidence in yourself is that you say something internally, but you don't do it. And so every time that you say something internally, like, I'm going to join the gym, I know I need to join the gym, I'm going to start going to the gym, and I'm going to lose weight. But you find yourself no longer doing that. You let yourself down, and you actually create low self-esteem within yourself. You stop believing in you. You will no longer believe in you. Okay? I heard someone say one time that if they say that they're going to run, X amount of miles or something like that, 10 miles, and maybe in the last mile they pull a muscle, they'll limp the rest of the mile, right? Or they're going to run for this length of time, and they haven't, ran for that length of time, and they pull a muscle, they're going to limp, but they're going to finish. Because every time you don't finish what you've committed to, you let yourself down, you reduce your self-esteem, and you break your own self-confidence in your ability to achieve anything. Okay? So no matter how much it hurts, don't quit, don't give up on yourself. Okay? Because then you'll find yourself in a position where you feel you're becoming more of a pathological liar, lying without thinking about it, which means the victory is in you saying it and not living it. So you're not ever really planning on doing it. You already know you have no ability to do what you say, so you don't believe in yourself. So you're constantly saying things that you're never ever going to actually do in your life. Then you're sort of becoming a pathological liar, and you're just easy at kind of saying a bunch of stuff that you're just not ever going to do, but it doesn't really bother you. Okay? So this is kind of important that you understand. Your body craves consistency. Your body, I'll say it one more time, it craves consistency. So you can't just show up at a podcast one week and not show up at a podcast another week and think you're going to feel great, because your body craves consistency. You're going to feel like something's just, I'm missing something. I'm missing a vitamin or something, a vitamin C, a vitamin K, I don't know. I'm missing something, because your body does crave consistency. Diet, exercise, sunlight, whatever you're doing, walking, reading the Word of God, whatever you're doing that's good and healthy, your body's going to crave that consistency. So that's it for us right now, and I got two things that I'm going to close with really quick, okay? And these are kind of two action steps for today. And not necessarily that they are specific to what we just talked about. They're more specific to the concept of what we should do with all of the information we've received today. Okay? So here's the one thing. Say less, do more. Say less, do more. Instead of speaking about what you're going to do so much, or, hey, I'm going to do this, or I'm doing this, say less and start doing more, right? That's the be quick to hear, slow to speak kind of concept, right? But just try to do that and see what happens in your life. The second thing, which I think is probably one of the most important things, is practice it until you become it. And so if you've heard the term fake it till you make it, right? Fake it till you make it means that you just act like you know what's going on until you actually do know what's going on, right? Fake it till you make it. But I'm telling you not to fake it till you make it. I'm telling you to practice it until you become it. So if the Bible says love your enemy, you might have to practice that until you become that. Okay? And the world may look at it as fake it till you make it. I look at it as practice it until you become it. And so anything you're trying to do that you know is a struggle, just continue to practice it until you become it. And that's all we got. Hope you guys enjoyed the podcast today. Ben, you guys go ahead and take it away.
I don't know if any of you guys have ever been in a tough situation. A situation where it felt like an emergency. Maybe you needed guidance. But it's in those situations that we really desire somebody to come down to save us like a superhero. So this song talks about that. This is a song that's just a cry when you're in those situations for help, a cry to God. So you guys just groove with us. Lord, can you hear me? Don't be silent, won't you shelter me? It all happens suddenly, everything is just closing in on me. I need you immediately, I can't lie to you, I am panicking. There's all of these enemies attacking me, it's prophecy. It's an emergency, I am bleeding deep, Lord please come to me. It's an emergency, I am screaming, Lord please answer me. I can't bear it any longer, wish I was stronger. Lord, you are my only hope, take this weight off of my shoulders. I need you immediately, I can't lie to you, I am panicking. It's all of these enemies attacking me, it's prophecy. It's an emergency, I am bleeding deep, Lord please come to me. It's an emergency, I am screaming, Lord please answer me. Why? Oh, why are they after me? Put a hit on me. I'm only human. Why can't they see? It's you and me. Yeah. Why are they after me? Put a hit on me. Why? Oh. I'm only human. Why can't they see? It's you and me. Oh. It's an emergency, I am bleeding deep, Lord please come to me. It's an emergency, I am screaming, Lord please answer me.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching and being a part of this community. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. You're going to get weekly videos on building a growth mindset, cultivating grit, and unlocking your full potential.